Hey everybody, welcome to Brunch Talks. This is our very first episode and we have two very special guests here in the house with us today. Welcome guys.
Well, thank you. Thanks. Ayubowan.
Ayubowan.
These days you need to say Ayubo Veva.
Ayubo Veva.
Okay, we're going to follow you and say Ayubo Veva. So how's the pandemic been treating you guys?
Well, a lot of free time to catch up on all the movies. Yeah, plenty of time at hand.
Plenty of time at hand.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming...
I think, first of all, we have to accept the fact that it happened. Okay, now make it useful. So I think a lot of us have really spent some time trying to recreate things or to plan out things. We have had time, it's like a break put on there and allowing us time to look at ourselves and look at what our missions are and plan things.
Gotcha.
So I think things happen. I mean, you can't help it, but you have to make the best of it. I think this has been a good
break.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've all been on a rat race.
Yeah.
The last few years, and I think the universe kind of had, like
decided like say, here's a break.
Put the brakes on.
Yeah, put the brakes on, and obviously it was a time of reflection of life, how far we've come, and obviously all of us being in a very competitive industry, we have dreams, we have visions, we have targets, we have goals, and it gave us time to obviously, replan things, give us a new direction for life, for careers. So I think it was a lot of good. I mean, apart from catching up on the movies, that was more relaxing. But then, deeply, I think a lot of people became spiritual also.
Yes,
even I kind of, started reading books, which I never had the time to read, like stuff on spirituality. And you actually kind of now, thanks to the time free time you had, you have a now different take on life about everything, not just your careers and your visions, but then as a human, it added more sense to life, more depth to life, I guess.
So that given this particular time for reflection and to stay back home and work on your creative projects, I kind of want to talk to both of you about how the pandemic, basically 2020, affected you guys in terms of the cinema industry. Chandran, as a filmmaker, how do you think how did you cope with the pandemic?
Well, it had an effect in the sense that the cinemas were closed. So once the cinemas are the exploitation of a film. So once that is closed, where do we go? And then we have the fact that we cannot get together as a group, as a crew, and create a new movie because we have all these rules and regulations and all these things to be scared about. And but I think on the other hand, we have had time to create new scripts and new ways of exploiting it. I don't mean the word exploiting in a bad way, I mean it in a positive way. So we have had that time. That time was very important. I think this has reconditioned us, even as filmmakers, to look at it in a different way. I'm very excited. I'm very excited about the future. I'm very excited about, actually, when I say we were able to do things because of the COVID, we are not trying to give credit to the COVID, but we must give credit to ourselves for having that space of time when we had the ability and the time to recreate things and rethink things, like she said.
Yeah.
And now I have plans on making movies. I'm saying the movie industry is not dead. Nobody can kill the film industry, in the sense a movie is like your bread and butter. You have to have your meal every day. You got to have a movie. You got to have entertainment. So that will never go away. It is how it was, how we displayed the movie, how we showed the movie, how we exploited the movie. Those are the things that changed. So we don't give up. What do? We create new venues, new ways of doing things. And I think it has been a tremendous boost. And I'm looking very much enthusiastically for the future. And I think the future is going to be even greater than it ever was. You'll say we will save the big cinemas. Of course, going to a cinema is a nice experience. But we are not going. We're just not going. So now if there's a Spielberg film or a J.J. Abrams film, and it's in 70mm, and it's some major epic, yes, we will go and see that movie. But a drama or some good movie, we don't have to go to the cinema and see it. We can see it on our iPad or our phone. And that's the way it's going. So there is also opened a great lot of opportunity for young people, for all of us, to create a product and have it shown by streaming or whatever. So I think it's a very positive thing as well. I really feel positive about it.
I kind of want to talk a little bit more about like how technology has democratized filmmaking as well, but I'm going to go over to Yureni first.
Yes.
So how has the pandemic affected you as a performer? So you spend most of the time in front of the camera.
Yes. Well, obviously, most of pretty much all the projects were on hold. There was no reality shows. There's no. I do a lot of corporate events. Nothing on that end was happening, and no movies were making because there were no investors. There were no moviegoers. So everything was pretty much,
on hold.
Yeah. So I think Sri Lanka now, everyone has gone from physically going to a theater to enjoying movies on a virtual space, right? This happened, if you take the global cinema, this happened 6-7 years ago. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you know.
It started happening, yeah.
For us, this is the time it clicked us, oh my God. I mean, we were never, adapted to all the new latest technology, or we were never going ahead with the global, trends. So for us, the pandemic really hit us hard. So we were confused as to what to do next, or what are we going to do now. So it had to happen to us for us to open our eyes and say, okay, what are we going to do? We have absolutely no choice but to do something about it. Now people in the industry have started realizing, okay, so there's no more cinemas. There are people and audiences. There won't be audiences we can, actually, get into the cinemas. So there's no choice but to get on to virtual platforms, because otherwise, I think at the time pandemic happened, there were only 2 or 3 handful of virtual platforms we had. I think Terana have one, and there are few other OTT platforms. So now I think it has given the time and space for the young creators, because I see a lot of, when you watch these music videos, you have a lot of talent. You can never say our people are not talented, because I lived in India for 1 year pursuing a career in Bollywood. So from what I gathered, there was that our actors are pretty, I mean, and plus we have a lot of talent here. It's just that our people, they do not have they don't have that self-confidence, because they always compare themselves and say, we always find fault. Okay, we either we don't have in terms of investment or in terms of technology. We feel we are far behind. But I feel now with the current ongoing trend, virtual platforms or OTT platforms, it's what matters is powerful storytelling. It's people. It doesn't matter whether it's a huge investment or whether it's shot on just iPhone. People who actually do movies on iPhone now, it doesn't matter the quality of the product. It's the storytelling what matters, and even the language doesn't matter anymore. So now I think since we have a very creative young directors coming into the industry, a lot of people have a different take on scripts. I think there is definitely a boom in the art cinema in Sri Lanka more than the mainstream commercial. That's what I feel when you look at. So if we can give out powerful storytellings, I think technology doesn't matter. The investment doesn't matter. You can. There was a Russian movie made last year with $15,000, and that went on to compete with all the A-list. Hollywood movies, and so it really shows like people want change, people want creative work, people want powerful storytelling. So I think this was an eye-opener for the time, though it was tough for us because we were not ready to accept this. We were not equipped to sort of face the pandemic, but it kind of gave us the time, like Chandran said, to open up to new avenues, look at different ways and means of doing things, and I'm sure people who are trying to take this industry forward we look at these aspects, and it was a good thing that came out. I think that we have no choice but to adapt to the world global change. We have no choice but to transfer from physical to virtual. So these are all good changes, and we need to look at it in a more optimistic way. Yeah. Yes.
And Chandran, about you mentioned about basically filmmaking being democratized, and the way filmmaking is going out there in the world. And where Sri Lanka is right now, how far behind are we, in your opinion, in terms of basically, let's say, film technology or like the way we make films? And Yureni mentioned that the world had like 5 years, like they were changing, they were adapting all these streaming platforms since like before 5 years, and we were forced to do that like right now. What's your take on this?
Well, I don't think that that we are backward in filmmaking at all. With the new technology and the way the young people have mastered the technology, things are completely turned over. We can compete with any American Hollywood picture. I'm a firm believer of that. I'll give you an example. We did Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And we did the production, and Steven Spielberg and George Lucas were very happy and commended us on it. So you're commending Sri Lankans. We did it for them. Well, can't we do the same thing for ourselves? So I'm not worried about that. That expertise and that dedication, we have it. So my whole idea is we are competing against the world. Forget this Sri Lanka-ish. You can make it, like she said, in Russian or Sinhalese or Tamil. Does not matter. It's the content. It's the story. Go for the story. Go on your handphone and make the
language
movie.
Doesn't matter. Does not
matter. Does not matter. Today, now when I first made my first film, I wrote a script and I carried it for 15 years before I made it. My father was a very wealthy man. I went to my dad and said, "Dad, I made this. I wrote this script, and it's about you and my mother." And he said, "Yeah, now I go to school. You have to be a lawyer or a doctor or an accountant." Okay, so I was not interested in any of those occupations. So then I went for 15 years. I went from uncles and friends and all. Nobody gave me the money. I went, I went to America, I worked on a film, made that money, and I made my own first film. Today, you don't have to wait 15 years, you don't have to wait 15 days. Today, you can do it. Because you have, it's not good, it's not that, those days, 400 feet, 25,000 rupees. 400 feet, and you shoot it once and it's gone. Right? Today, retake, we can do what we want. Yeah. So it's like the technology has made it possible for all the young people to come forward. Now, and we must get away from this competition. This is not competition. I'm sorry to say, in our country, we have only one problem with the film business.
We don't work as a team.
Yes. Yeah. No, in the singular word, irisya. Irisya.
Jealousy.
Okay, jealousy. Take that away, and we are a team. So that is the main thing, because I cannot make a movie like you do, and you cannot make a movie like I do.
Learn to appreciate somebody else's effort.
No, I mean, this is not a competition, because your making of a movie is a different style and a different way. Yeah. You can't match me, and I can't match you. So let us all join together. So now my whole idea is, I am encouraging young people, now including you, and to make your own films. You see? And we will support. My company will provide all the equipment free of charge. You go and make the film, and then we'll put it on the platform. So that way, if it catches on, you have made a name for yourself. Then you become you'll be a sought-after director or a producer or whatever, or an actor, actress. You have to show yourself. Now is your chance. Now is better than ever before for any young person to come and show their talent. I really believe in that. So this is a phenomenal change in our favor. I really believe.
That's very powerful. So since like Chandran mentioned that, jealousy being like the main problem that we have here in the country as why we can't progress with the film industry, what do you think it is?
Well, Akash, for me, we have this problem in our industry that we don't work as a team. Mm-hmm. And everyone try to run the race on their own, which should not be the case. I think that's the very reason I see that in film industry over a period of time that it has got into the state, you know. It's simply because of we don't work as an industry and artists don't support, and hence we do not have government backing as well for the industry. So I feel now that because it's very easy to complain, because it's very easy to say, okay, we don't have investors, we don't have the latest technology, we don't have platforms, we don't have this, we don't have opportunities. But does anyone make an effort to go out there and make a difference? So Chandran has done it. Hats off to him. So anyone who right now is watching us, they know, okay, fine. Maybe motivated to do a movie, a small budget movie. As long as, like I said, you know, we need to come out of the conventional way of movie making and get into platforms like that. He's a person who has, you know, created that avenue. So the other thing I see is Sri Lanka right along. This would have happened at least 10, 15, 20 years ago. But at least I feel that it should happen now. I attended the Viber Asia Summit in 2018. So all the Asian countries were there. So it was Philippines, Nepal, Pakistan, India, you know, Bangladesh, all these celebrities, like top celebrities. And I was, when you were talking to their managers, their agencies, these celebrities, they all do regional work. You know, and everyone knows each other. The Philippine agent manager knows the Pakistani manager, or the agencies. They know, they're all friends. Like, you know, so they endorse brands regionally. It's not, they don't stand, you know, alone as a country, but they work regionally.
So they collaborate regionally.
They collaborate,
gotcha.
Right? So I think Sri Lanka right along, we have been trying to do our own thing and see where it has gotten us to. So it's about time that we put ourselves out there rather than complaining. If you don't have investors, you put yourself out there and look for an investor. Okay, you come and we give our team, you bring in your technicians, you know, you do collaboration. So in that way, we can exchange ideas, we can exchange technology, and it's a learning experience for, you know, we can learn something from them. And we make friends. We, you know, that's how at the time when our industry was the golden era, that's how it operated, Chandran, you know, with the Bollywood stars used to come here. We used to go, you know, go there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have drifted away, you know. So I think it's about time that now I see channels individually grooming their own stars, right? And then again, I feel that it creates a, you know,
it's basically
separation.
Like putting a box around. Yeah.
So it's like, for instance, X channel is grooming their stars, so they are only allowed to work in that channel. They are not allowed to go into another channel, right? So then this way, instead of coming together as an industry, everyone is drifting away. So I feel channels should be more, what can I say, more
open to,
you know, should work with a broader spectrum, like, you know, okay, fine, we are contributing to the industry. It's not for their own gain, but we want to contribute to the industry. We want to uplift the cinema, because cinema is a industry we can actually bring in foreign investment if you really focus, right? And sadly, this country has never noticed the value of cinema. So I feel, and channels can, because they have the infrastructure, channels can link that, you know, gap, the regional gap, and bring in stars from all over and create movies. Like I said, it's not about the language, or it's not about it. It's a powerful, it's storytelling now. It's basically
storytelling. Yeah.
Right. So they can do, channels actually can do, because already they are playing a huge, massive role now.
I would kind of go so far as to say, like, it's like the cinematic medium is the most powerful storytelling medium that's available in the modern world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And something that I always tell the people that I work with, my filmmaking team, is that it's not, you know, it's not that we don't have all the equipment or the massive budgets that other countries or the people have. I think, you know, we have, this is like a walking studio in everybody's pocket. And if you can, like, gather up a bunch of friends, you can basically do anything. You can tell a story and you have all the equipment available to you. What I say is, what I see, the problem that I see, and I don't know how far you guys would agree with this, is the problem is, it's not that we don't have anything else, it's the problem with the attitude.
Attitude, yeah.
That's right.
Definitely we need to have a shift of attitude, because everyone, like I said, everyone's very quick to complain. But nobody wants to find a solution and go out there, put themselves. I mean, if you can't depend on a channel or someone else to do it, individually you go out. I mean, I'm currently, because I want to, you know, make sure. Okay, Chandran knows. I've been trying this for the last, I don't know, but I will keep trying because I want to be a part of the global cinema, because actresses, we as actors,
you can.
Yeah, we as actors, we don't want to be resorted to just your country, because you know there are so many opportunities out there. So I can't be sitting waiting at home and say, okay, fine, if Sri Lankan movies are not going to happen, okay, I'm just gonna give up. I want to put myself out there and give it a go. So as we speak, I'm trying my best. So individually, if you can, if each and every actor can think in a different way, rather than come, oh, we don't have work, oh my God. I see a lot of actors who come on television and say, please help us, like, as if public owe them, which is not good, because we don't have work, it's very difficult for us to live, so please come help us, as if public
you don't need to help them.
No, public is not obliged to help them, It's, so we have to find our ways and means on our own, if there is no support from the government or from the industry, sadly. We have to find. But then now people like Rutnam, because of his contribution, now people like us can have hope. Like he said, you can do your own movie and put it out so that it will go global.
Exactly.
You never know when it will strike. Unless you try, you can,
unless you keep grinding and putting out content out
you
there.
never know where, so that's how I look at it.
You got to make the move.
Yeah, you got to make the move.
The move.
The right move.
The right move.
All my moves have been...
No, don't say that. In the process of all those moves that you have made, you have gained a lot of experience. And then the new one is about to come. The sun is about to rise for you. Take my word for it. Yeah.
Thank you, Chandran.
And for a lot of people. So this business has changed. The desire for content has never changed. It will never change. So we have the mechanism, we have the technology that Hollywood has. We have it here now.
Yes.
In the old days we didn't. Now we have it. Now is our opportunity. So there is a great desire for content. As they say, content is king, which is true.
Yeah.
So we got to keep making. Storytelling is story, story, story. Get the screenplay right and then go for it. First thing, get the screenplay right.
Recently I watched a 15-minute short story. I don't know whether you watched it. It was on Facebook. I don't know. I'm sure it must have been on YouTube as well. Indian short film, like a 15-minute short film. And that was, how many views? 21.6 million views just on Facebook. So you know how powerful the digital platform is. And Sri Lanka itself, we have 6 million, close to 6 million, a digital base. So imagine you put it out there, a product, you can actually make money if you are properly marketed. You can make 10 times more than what you actually,
spend on it.
Put it on the main screen. But I think, Chandran, a lot of movie makers, they've grown up watching, on the big theatre. So when they do their first film, it's a dream for them to, show it on a big screen.
And you must not take that away.
But you have to come out of that mentality now.
Now in Sri Lanka, there are so many movies in the queue. Now they are paying for it. They are paying. They mortgage their house or they borrowed money from the bank, and 2 years goes before a movie is released. So they have a very difficult time financially. And then somebody comes and says, "I'll buy your DVD rights. Here's a couple of million," and they give it. It's all over.
Yeah.
You shouldn't give it. It's your product. You don't give it away.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't sell it like that because you don't know what the next thing is going to come up. Thing we never dreamed of. Maybe a new way of exploiting the movie. Oh, but I gave it to Joe Blow.
Yeah.
It's gone. That's the end of the chapter. No, you keep your content. Always give it for a while or give it or rent it out or whatever.
Yeah.
But don't. So the whole idea is here. The technology is changing so rapidly that you don't know where the next thing is going to be, but you have to go with the times. And the technology is making it easy, not making it more difficult. It's making it easier and easier for the filmmakers to make a film, make the product. So we got to go with that, and with that, you got to have confidence. I'm telling you, I am a great believer Now, we did Common Man.
Yeah.
We had Hollywood actors. It was a Hollywood
Yes.
movie. It made a lot of money. Unfortunately, I didn't produce it, but it made a lot of money. And there is now, most of my films are in English. You don't have to make it in English. You can always subtitle it. But a Sri Lankan movie in English, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Now I would ask you, go and make a nice story. If your English is better than your Sinhala or whatever, and if you think the world market is in English, if you think so, make it. People, Sri Lankans will watch that because it's a story about Sri Lanka. And the world will look at it from a story about another country, another culture.
Look at White Tiger.
There you
White
are.
Tiger, they show the disparity between the rich and the poor,
Yeah.
and how poor is so, driven to make it to the
A lot
top.
of other Asian films. What
it's
is
a-
that famous film about that Asian family?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah.
Crazy Rich
Rich
Asians.
Asians.
And then, so that White Tiger was one of the among the top 5 in the world, the most streamed
Stream
movies.
movies on Netflix, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so these are Indian movies you're looking at, and it's of a different culture, and
movies
people
like,
would
I
love
mean,
to know about.
And people from the Indian industry is like going so far ahead, and us
Yeah.
being
Bollywood
neighboring-
has already crashed.
Exactly.
And they've made the move immediately, shift immediately, and the Bollywood stars are coming to the OTT platforms, and they are making, and most of these Netflix Indian series, I see actually not the Bollywood stars, they are main normal actors.
Yeah.
But they're brilliantly doing well.
Yeah,
Those
sure.
stories are so powerful.
Today, what is predominant is not the status of the actor. It is the quality of the story. Story.
Story, yeah.
That's very important.
And where do you see the film industry going? Like, what lessons have we, or do you think you've learned, as a filmmaker and as a performer from the past 1 year, I would say? And what would you apply going forwards into 2021?
For the local film industry.
Basically local or whatever you're doing.
No, the local film industry, if we go, we got to get rid of all the red tape. And, sad to say that some of the people who are making the rules and regulations don't have the foggiest. They appoint actors and actresses. They know how to act. They know how to do all that. They know how to dance.
Yeah.
They know all that. But they've never owned a cinema. They don't know what the plight of the cinema is. Let me tell you, you're lining up in a queue. Now the local film cinemas, all these circuits, right? I think Ceylon Theatre,
Yeah, film theatres.
EAP and all that. Now, it's an industry. We can't force you to come to your shop and say, sell this.
Yeah.
If it doesn't sell, you still have to keep it and try to sell it. No, if it doesn't sell, you throw it out and get something you can sell.
Sell.
So the cinemas must have the prerogative to select what they want to show in their cinemas. Then we will say, oh, but they are not showing this art film. Right? Why should the cinema suffer because you made an art film which nobody wants to watch? Why should the cinemas worry about that? I'm paying for the air conditioning, I'm paying all these costs, and you want me to keep this thing going just to satisfy you? No. What I believe in is, it's an industry. You make a film, you take it to all the cinemas. EAP wants it. Ceylon Theatres does not want it. Then give it to EAP. Okay, EAP does not want it, Ceylon Theatres does not want it, and the other, Liberty does not want it. Nobody wants it.
Scope, yeah.
Okay, now what do? That's when the government should step in. They should have their circuit, let them take the loss. Let them take this film and show it in their theatre, and let them take the loss. You can't expect the theatre owner, the cinema owner to take the loss. He'll have a closed shop.
That's what has been happening all around the country.
And another thing, they don't have money to clean the toilets, to clean the seats.
Some other theatres that we actually visited, they said they don't even have enough money to even pay for the electricity.
That's right.
You know?
And another thing, if you go to a cinema, you want it to be luxurious. It's got to be clean. It's got to be wonderful.
Because it's a stress relief.
So first thing is, treat this as an industry. And if nobody wants your film and you think it's a great film, it might be a piece of absolute crap for the rest of the world, but you and your wife loves it, and your family loves it. Yes, let the government have a circuit, where you can put it in that circuit. Let the government take the loss.
Yeah.
You can't expect the individual cinema owner to take that loss.
Yeah.
And if you do that, this is going to crash.
And the other thing is, Chandran, where these distributors, there are third parties. They take a 10% off.
Yeah.
So it's, how can you run an industry where a third party absolutely out of nowhere just walks in and say, I want 10%.
Just for doing nothing.
Just for doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know, so there has to be, like I said, we have a film corporation. Either we need to implement new rules, set of rules and regulations, and like Chandran said, government has to intervene, because we had a scheme where the government previously used to give a loan scheme to encourage.
Friends and relations.
No, at least they did. You know, some sort of an initiative, right?
Sorry to interject. You mentioned this word that's been echoing in my head for like a little while. Filmmaking is like an amazing way to bring in foreign investments, and that's what, Chandran, you've been doing for like the last, I don't know, the last 30, 40 years.
Yes.
And what about that in the future? Like, where do you see that heading? I mean, Sri Lanka, you can get so much done for like a portion of for a fraction of the budget that you do something in LA.
Absolutely. So that's why they come here.
Yeah, and why haven't we been seeing that happening for a while now?
We formed our company Film Location Services in 1979, and we've been doing very well. And then, of course, the big pictures have been made here. I mean, there's no doubt. And then we start competing. So some guy thinks he can do it better than me. He goes and opens another shop like mine, and sells it cheap. Then there is a price now. Then it's cheaper. No dignity. You see, for your talent, there is a fee for your talent. If I ask you to become an actress in my film, I'm not going to bargain with you. I hired Jacqueline Fernandez for my film. I didn't bargain with her. You know, you don't bargain. That means you're putting yourself down, because that is your value. Your value. So if you go to a foreign film company that comes, I can do it cheaper than Chandran Rutnam's company. Yeah, from that day, this cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. No, I say no. And I also tell them, you have to treat my people very well. If you don't treat my people well, I won't treat you well, I'll kick you out. That's how it is.
So is it like a lack of standardization?
Yeah, no, they are bringing the industry down. You know, they are bringing the industry down. You must not compete like that. That is not the way you compete. You got to have self-respect and respect of a country. Foreign exchange to this country at the time in 1979, 80, 81, 82, 83, 85, there was no foreign exchange coming to this country. We brought foreign exchange from Hollywood. Millions and millions and millions of dollars.
That's what I'm saying. We still can do that.
Yeah.
We still can bring in a lot of foreign currency. It's just that everyone hasn't realized the value of our industry, and we have taken, I think people in our industry itself have taken this industry for granted. So I feel that government needs to intervene and at least appoint people who are deserving, who knows the industry at the top level, you know, right now the officials. And I feel we need to appoint people who have a new approach, like, you know, because now it's a new era, you know. It's not like 1970s. So
but then for 70 years, they've never done that. Okay, now you have a guy like Ravindra Randhane who's an actor. Does he know anything else? He can sing.
Yeah.
He's a good actor.
Yeah.
Very good, but nothing else.
True.
He's never owned a cinema. He's never run a company. But these are the people you put actors into acting classes. You don't
Academy.
Academy. Form academy. Teach us how to act. Teach us how to sing. Teach us how to dance.
That's what I was saying.
Teach us how to dance in the bushes. Why not?
That's gone. Finally, that we've come out of it. We've come out of it, Chandran. Our movies are not really right. But I feel that even places like Film Corporation, there has to be new people coming in who has different ideas, who's updated with current technology and current way of how the global cinema
and possibly new ways of storytelling as well.
Yes. So we need new people there, and plus the government needs to sort of back the industry, especially by giving loan schemes for all these. We have a lot of new young creative directors. sometimes all they need is a couple of millions, or with a zero interest, or they're willing to take a loan, but instead of some sort of a concession rate. So government needs to, I think, if they can promote a loan scheme, who knows, they can create something, put out in a platform like which Chandran Rutnam is going to launch. What?
Tontoflix.
Tontoflix.
We're going to be talking
and
about
it'll go global. And who knows, next thing is, and it'll be a global phenomenon. People want to watch. So you never know where it can take. So, yeah.
Question for you, Yureni. If I say that, as a performer, if you had to deal with like the same storytelling template over and over again, you get bored, right?
Yeah.
And what do you have to say about that? Where do you see storytelling going forward for a performer?
We have lots.
What do you
of
expect from the filmmaker's side?
Filmmaker's side, we have a lot of real life stories. Like, again, I will take White Tiger. It's just a normal scene, which they must have created more than 1,000 movies with the same message. But White Tiger kind of brought in a different perspective, a different whole new, meaning to the disparity between the poor and the rich. So likewise in Sri Lanka, we have a lot of real life stories, and which are not being made. Movies are about, you bring in real life stories into a picture, but
whereas over here it's either romantic, slapstick comedy, or historical drama.
Yeah, and it's just like I feel that they're just stagnant in same, same storylines. They're not, sort of going beyond that. So there are plenty of real life, and especially during Corona time, there are enough and more stories we can actually bring into life. You need to put our culture, our real life stories out there. So because otherwise it's going to be, there's a love story, there's a villain, just like how our music videos, right? So it's just the same old, and people also, especially, a good example is Kumbiyo, Sahodariyo, Thanamagila Kollek. I'm talking about TV series.
Yeah.
Like, people accepted it. Even the Colombo crowd watched it, right? People, Sri Lankans who lived overseas watched these TV series. There was a craze for these TV series.
That goes to show that people are not, they're interested in new and amazing content.
And most of our directors and filmmakers have this issue. They say, oh, there's no audience. There's no audience in Sri Lankan cinema. Why there's no audience? You need to reflect on that. Why there isn't an audience? Because we have failed the audience. We have not given different, variety of storytelling to people. So we have disappointed them over a period of time, and now they've just completely lost faith in us, right? So there is an audience out there now. For example, Master, Vijay's new movie, right? And they had to create time slots because it was overbooked. It was sold out. It was sold out, right? And so from midnight, they've been queuing up just to the early morning show started at 3 o'clock in the morning. So this is not just for 400,000 Tamilians who live in Sri Lanka, but even Sri Lankans like we go and watch that movie. So we do have an audience. It's just that we have to find ways and means of getting them into
pulling them into cinema.
Yeah. So if it's not for movie hall, to a digital platform. It's just that you have to think out of the box. And this is the time you can do that. Like Chandran said, this is no better time than this. And it's not just Sri Lanka. We always think small. I don't know why. It's like always showcasing it to our people. Releasing it in our theaters, releasing it in our. Why can't you think global? Everyone. There's a Saudi. I don't know whether you watched. There's a Tikka, Saudi Arabian TV series. Now, I can't remember the country. So this country there's not even a film industry exists in that little country. But this individual guy, he had released this Tikka series. It's called Tikka. It's a mini TV series, mini web series. Yeah, mini web series. It's about how the modern Arab, how the fashion sense have changed, how their culture have changed. So, and then Netflix have spotted and they have offered to, fund it. Now they've done this first season, now it's the second season, it's going global and it's become a sensation, phenomenon. So these are like new way of thinking, and that's a country where a movie industry didn't even exist. And our country, we have a rich history of cinema. And we have movie makers, we have an industry here, whatever it is, we still have an industry to be proud of, right? We have good filmmakers, people like Chandran who have worked with Hollywood film directors. So if an individual in a country like that can do that, I mean, there's no question about us. I mean,
there's no excuse for us.
Exactly.
There's no excuse.
So,
And another thing is our people can go outside and work in other countries. Now, I took over 200 Sri Lankans to Malaysia. We made 6 Hollywood films in Malaysia. The crew was Sri Lankans. We made that film Sleeping Dictionary with Jessica Alba.
oh,
Jessica's
I
first
love that movie.
lovely movie. Her first film, we made it in Sarawak. All the technicians were Sri Lankan. All the carpenters were Sri Lankan. And the whole thing was done by Sri Lankans. Like that, we did 6 different movies. We did movies in Philippines. We did a movie called Robo Warrior, where our designer did the biggest robo ever made. I mean, we've done some phenomenal things in the world.
So that's what this happened. What 20,
About 10, 15 years
10,
ago.
15 years ago. So the world has already changed.
Yeah.
Sri Lanka, we haven't even started thinking.
We are just lagging behind.
Yeah, we're so laid back. I mean, of course, it's true because we live in an island and everyone has like island mentality.
But we are still connected to the world at large through the internet.
Exactly now.
And we are exposed to new content every single day, and like we see how they do stuff in the industry. And Chandran, you are working on a platform as well.
Yes.
Can we talk a little bit about that? Like how you plan on basically helping people out in terms of
we planned on this about a year ago, but we had to get the right platform, and this is a worldwide platform, and we do not show. We have blacked out Sri Lanka, and the reason is this: there are so many films in the queue. These films, they'll take a year, 2 years, sometimes 3 years to hit the screen. Now, the young filmmaker who made this film, for him, like you said earlier, this business of going and seeing it on the big screen and doing the pana and putting the garland and taking the press and being some nondescript chief guest from somewhere.
Don't be too mean. Don't be too mean.
No,
How are they?
no, but that is all. That is all part of the glamour.
Yeah.
So they can't do without that, and they should not do without that. I'm not against that. They should do. That's why I say, now you make a film and you're in the line. I don't want to show it in Sri Lanka, because you must have that experience. When I got into the business, it was my ego that got me into the business. I got to satisfy my ego. I've got over it now, I think, but everybody, every young person has an ego that is and that passion that they got to go and at the Regal Theatre and they must, do all that stuff and pose and all that. All that is important to them. You must allow them to do that. They must get over it on their own. So that way, I don't touch. Our platform does not show it anywhere in Sri Lanka. So you have a film that is in the queue. You give me the film. I show it around the world. You'll make some money long before it is released in the theatre. So you can pay your bank balance, your mortgage or whatever it is, So this is the type of thing I'm doing. And we will have it in English, Sinhala and Tamil. And it will be worldwide except in Sri Lanka. Later on, when the business changes and the tide changes, then we might include Sri Lanka. So that is what.
So that's good news for all of you, no?
Yeah,
Exactly.
And not only that, a young filmmaker brings a script to me, and if I like it, I will give them all the equipment, cameras,
Free.
lights, all free to make it. I'll take it off the top when it's released, but I will give it to you. So that's almost 40% of
the
your
cost
budget.
that
And the rest you borrow from your auntie and make the movie.
yeah.
Because you believe in it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And how do you think filmmakers and performers likewise can earn money outside their craft?
Well, because now, like I said, it's not just, it was the conventional way is gone. Like, you do a teledrama and then you have to, wait in the TV queue, or you do a movie, you have to wait. My first movie got released after 10 years, Live.
What?
Right.
10 years?
10 years.
What is the name of the movie?
Live. So
That was made in 2011, right?
2009.
Who was the producer? Some producer, poor producer.
Yeah, Indian producer, a university
Did
guy.
he commit suicide? Or
I think, thank God, he comes from a wealthy family, thanks to his dad. So he had pocket money from his dad. So I think we as actors now, we have, like Chandran said, we can do our own thing. Like we can create our own. It doesn't necessarily has to be big budget. Like I said, we have a powerful real life story. People are more keen on seeing, real life stories. So we can actually. One thing is we get to create a good product on our own, put it on a web series, put it out on a digital platform. You can have your own YouTube channel, and you can make income in dollars, by God willing, if your YouTube channel,
if you can monetize that.
Monetize it, and you're able to get more subscribers. So there are so many.
But there are so many platforms. So you make a film, you put it in, they're all shops.
Yeah.
You put it in my shop, you put it in the other guy's shop, you put it in the other guy's shop, and you expose it. But look at that exposure, much more than you can do it here.
Yeah, exactly. So I think as performers, we have, thanks to the pandemic, our horizon broadened, I would say. Like, we have so many options to sort of venture out into. It's just that you can't sit at home and say, can't wait a channel to call you and give you a teledrama, or can't wait another director to call you and give you a movie. I'm not a person like that. I would.
So you go out there and take the chance.
Exactly.
Come back and do your thing.
So there are plenty of opportunities. I think we live in an era where we create opportunities for ourselves rather than being approached by someone. I think we have the power to create our own content and put it out there, and it can, you never know, if it given the right time, right place, it could be a global sensation.
Now there was some film made. I don't care about what people think of what I'm going to say. There was one film made about a man with a woman against a wall, and getting it on. Okay, now. I can't remember the name of the picture, but every time they talk about that picture, they refer to it. That is all they remember. So I don't even know the name. You talk to the guy, they don't know the name. They don't even care about the name of the movie. They remember, so is that what we want?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's
so
get
we have
real.
that issue
Let's get real.
in art cinema. That's very sad, because I think directors are too greedy to win awards, and they think nudity is a must. It's mandatory to be shown on an art. If it's an art movie, it has to be.
There is nothing wrong with nudity.
It's very artistic. We've seen a lot of foreign productions.
Nudity is beautiful. You show a man with a good torso and it's what we call the abs and all that. Doing some work in the garden. It's nice.
Nice.
And women like to see that. And men like to see somebody in the shower. Nudity. Those are normal things. You see, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when it's used to commercialize the movie.
Yeah, true.
That's a no-no. Don't do that.
That's very cheap.
Somebody came and showed me a famous director, actor, whatever. Showed me a movie. He said, Chandran, watch the movie, tell me what you think. So we watched the movie, and then the girl and the boy, and then they are in the bedroom, and then the girl starts getting on and boy starts getting on the girl. I said, cut that out. Have them together. We know what's going to happen, and I'll tell you, my imagination is much better than your movie.
Yeah.
Because I have a fantastic sexual imagination.
Oh, no doubt about that. We've got no qualms about that, Chandran. We know.
You know what I mean? We all have our individual thing.
Yeah.
And you see it in a different way, I see it in a different way. Our imagination is much better than what you can put on the screen.
Yeah, sure.
It's kind of like hiding the monster in a horror movie.
Exactly, right.
Because your brain fills in the rest.
Absolutely, you hit it. Exactly what he said. Yeah.
And people have this misconception that if you send your movie out to festivals and they win big at festivals, like your movie is like the thing.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that, both of you?
Yes.
Well, film festivals, one thing is it's very sad to hear that people, directors especially, who take their movies to film festivals, they basically show a very sad side of Sri Lanka, right? That we have violence here, we have poverty, that this country is like super, I don't know, it's like we're living in a hell.
I'm gonna just pause you there because I just want to like tell this story that that happened to me when I was in LA. I got into an Uber, and right next to me the driver was, I think, from some sort of an African country, and we got into a conversation. I told him I'm from Sri Lanka, and I'm from, we have Colombo. It's an urban area, and this guy turns to me and he's like, "You have like a city with buildings?" Because this guy had been to a festival and seen like Sri Lankan movies, and all he had seen poor villages, dusty areas, and all the
ugly
violence.
people.
The ugly side of Sri Lanka.
These are
NGO
sponsored affairs.
Yeah, as if every girl, as if like every second a girl gets raped in this country, right?
Yeah.
So that's what they sell, and people actually, the international audience have a very different, perception of Sri Lanka, which is, I mean, our country is nowhere near India. I mean, this is a paradise. This is actually a paradise, right? We should be, in fact, promoting this country, rather than just showing the, trying to get the sympathy and win awards. We should be, celebrating the culture, celebrating the lives of people, achievements, And even though this is an island, our people are generally hardworking people.
Absolutely.
They are go-getters,
Absolutely.
right? And we should show that. And how many people in NASA, Sri Lankans will work in NASA,
Very
right?
true.
How many people, Sri Lankans living in US were doing, top jobs? I mean, why can't we celebrate them?
The positive side of it.
Positive side.
Yeah.
Why do you just for selfish, motives? Why do you have to just sell your country for the sake of an award?
Yeah.
Or for the sake of just few $1 million to produce your movie. So that's a very sad thing, So that has to change. Like Chandran said, we cannot, if we don't work as a team, and if people are trying to be selfish and only think of their gains, in a decade, very sorry to say, I can precisely say in about another 10 years' time, there will be no industry to exist. And there'll be people just on TikTok and, this and that.
That is if we are going the way that we are right now.
But now you with the award thing, we should not get hung up on that. We should also think of the monetary aspect of it. That means you get a producer, he puts up the money. If he does not make any money out of the movie, he's never going to produce a film again. One day I went to a friend of mine, I won't mention names, unless you force me to, but I won't mention names. I went and congratulated him. Hey, congratulations, you won that award. My friend, the producer, don't talk to me about films.
Yeah, people are not genuine enough.
You can stuff the award. I lost all my money. So these things, the only guy who's getting any benefit is some guy gets
like the distributor
the award and he puts it on there, and every TV show you see him with the award, and
Mostly
that's
the
it.
filmmaker.
But the poor producer, he will you lost a producer. I call producers angels. You have to protect the angel.
Yeah, true.
So next time, don't talk about films. Don't talk about films.
Yeah, once a producer produces a Sri Lankan movie, they will never be in the industry. They'll be nowhere to be seen because we've actually, we've played them out or we've put them off. And so there is...
So who gained? Only the director who did the film.
Or a distributor on the side.
No, not even distributor, but those films don't sell. Nobody goes to see them.
Yeah.
The only people who go to see them are the people who go to the festival who have a free ticket.
Yeah.
True, very true, very true.
Yeah, you got to face facts.
And it's a very limited audience
you
as well.
it, and nobody goes to the cinema.
Yeah, sure.
It's a fact. We don't want to face it. It's nice to win awards. I won awards. I love it. I feel great.
It gives you a sense of pride.
Yeah. But that should not be the main motive here. Think about the commercial aspect. It's an industry. You have to make money so that you make the next film.
Sure.
So, this was the previous method by which most filmmakers made films in Sri Lanka and put it out there.
Exactly.
And about the pandemic, how it shed light on the inadequacies of this standard model. How do you think it's shed light on these inadequacies, and how do you think we have to move away from it in the future?
Well, I feel one thing is adapting to the global changes, and we have to work as a team. There's absolutely no choice, and the Sri Lankan government has to intervene and do something about the movie industry. We don't have a proper legalized entity for actors. Musicians have it, but we don't have an actors guild, a legalized one. So hence we cannot even bring in rules and regulations, or we cannot stand up for our own rights.
There's no standard fees.
There are no standard fees.
Yeah.
Now, back in the day, a day work was considered as 8 hours. But today I know there are TV series being made for 12, 13, 14, 15 hours, and which they're only being paid for just 1 day's work, which is, it's a rip-off of, your hard work. And so these things, and plus the top three, the tourism, the apparel industry, and the foreign workforce, those were the main three income, the foreign income we had, and now it's all collapsed. So government should see this industry as a hope, instead of just ignoring and putting it, oh, forget about Sri Lankan industry, you know. So I think, and one way of convincing the government is the people who, the officials who are at the top positions, like the legal entities, film corporations, for instance, they need to come up with different infrastructure or different,
But I think first of all, we got to start respecting our film industry and the people in it.
Take pride in it.
Take pride in it and respect. They treat, when you say you're a film director or a film actress, they think they treat it in a very frivolous manner.
Yeah, true.
Very
Frivolous.
True. Very
It's
true.
a joke to them. It's not a joke to me.
But we don't even watch Sri Lankan movies. Do they even have an industry?
Yeah. Oh, you're a director. My girlfriend.
But at least you have the utmost respect, Chandra, because you lived in that golden
That is true.
era.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of the recent directors are the ones who are facing actually. You have the utmost regard, and people look up to you.
You have to respect.
Yeah.
And another thing, the actors and actresses, you have to respect them.
And actors also have a responsibility to groom themselves, not just a pretty face. It's about the entire total package. You should groom yourself. If you do not know how to speak or how to face an interview, you need to go and learn. I see a lot of actors are like pretty faces, absolutely pretty faces, but they don't try to master their craft, or they just want to put some makeup on and they want to be popular. I mean, it's good to be popular. I know, we've been there. But it's just that if you're looking at long term, if you want to make a career out of it and not just a short term popularity and all that, you also need to make an effort. You also need to give, contribute to the industry. So in terms of grooming yourself, mastering your craft, So I think actors also should take this profession as serious. Then the public, it's very easy for us to convince the public.
And do you
because
also
when
think,
we also act like dumb blondes when we come on screen, what do you expect of the public? I mean, it's by all means, it's very extremely fair by the public to forget these Sri Lankan actors are good for nothing. So we have created that for ourselves. So it's a sad thing. So actually, the problem lies within. You can't always pinpoint and say, okay, public doesn't respect the industry or public look down, but we also have a certain
responsibility.
Responsibility
to respect ourselves.
And make sure that we give 100% commitment. And
see, we have chosen it as our profession and our livelihood.
Yeah.
And it's not a joke. It's not a joke.
And you must be grateful to be in an industry like this. I think the current generation do not know the value of this industry. We are really blessed to be a part of such a unique industry. It's not everybody, every human can emote. Emotions. It's not an easy thing to bring emotions onto a screen, and we are portraying real life stories mostly. And so to possess that kind of talent, you should be God gifted, and it should be it's a blessing. So
we are fortunate to be in the business.
We are. We should be grateful. So I think one thing is we've taken it for granted. The other thing is that nobody has taken this industry very seriously.
Exactly.
And everyone wants to, even a producer who wants to come, either he wants to date a pretty face, because of that he wants to, and these are the facts I'm telling you, these are factual. So he wants to date an actress, so he will put in money, and his prime concern is just to date the actress. Or either he wants to just, make a marginal profit. So nobody does it
get famous.
Get famous. Nobody wants to do it with passion. So passion is something that I've seen missing out in the industry. People don't work with desire, passion, with a long-term plan, and that's why our industry has still not evolved to the next stage. And I think this pandemic has really opened eyes for so many people, and I think they've come to realize that they cannot do it on their own. They cannot run their show on their own. They need to support everyone. And with the support, help, unity, respect for each other, that they can, take forward take this industry forward.
Anything to add to that, Chandran?
Yeah, I think we got to rethink our positions in the industry, and give this industry some respect, because it will not go away. Films will always be there. It's like having your meal.